ZOOBELS and SKIBIDI Season 1.
It all started at the annual Diddy party. The night was young and the air was electric. Speed stumbled upon a lake of still water. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Skibidi appeared. English or Spanish, he demanded, before shoving Speed into the lake. ZOOBELS, witnessing the chaos, decided to Farnham tax KSI to make a distinction.
"Why'd you push Speed into the still water?" ZOOBELS demands, all dramatic-like. Skibidi shrugs. Speed showed his meat. Seriously? Only in the world of gamers. Meanwhile, Detective Diddy's on the case, hiring a search team for Speed's reboot card. ZOOBELS, always the clever one, hatches a plan. He borrows Mysterio's metabolism. Don't ask how, it's a mystery. With his aura blocking the still water's effects, ZOOBELS sneaks in like a ninja. He nabs Speed's reboot card and zooms out, with Skibidi right behind him. Chaos, drama, and a dash of humor.
So ZOOBELS and SKIBIDI just barely escaped this wild Diddy party, clutching Speed's reboot card like it's the last pizza slice at a gamer meetup. They're thinking, phew, we're safe. But then, KSI appears out of nowhere. KSI's like, I know you've got Speed's card. And ZOOBELS, looking like a deer caught in headlights, goes, please, I'll do anything for you not to take it. KSI smirks and says, all right, just listen to my new song, Thick of It, and I won't take it. Without missing a beat, ZOOBELS hands over the card. Just like that, KSI struts off, probably to drop another fire track. ZOOBELS turns to Skibidi and says, I had no choice.
While ZOOBELS and Skibidi were panicking in the shadows, KSI was making a clean getaway with Speed's reboot card in hand. His plan? To hand it over to P. Diddy in exchange for a sweet music plug. KSI could barely contain his excitement, but then, out of the darkness, emerged Big D Randy. Do you know what day it is? He rumbled. KSI's heart raced. Halloween, he stammered. Big D Randy didn't waste a second. He snatched the reboot card and in a dramatic toss sent it flying. Before KSI could react, Big D Randy grabbed him and dragged him into a dark alley, leaving ZOOBELS and Skibidi to swoop in and retrieve the reboot card. They dashed away, leaving KSI to face his spooky fate.
ZOOBELS and SKIBIDI knew they had to disappear, fast. For 2.5 months, ZOOBELS and Skibidi laid low. They found an old abandoned treehouse in the park. ZOOBELS rigged it with security cameras and booby traps, just in case.
Think it's safe to go out now? Skibidi asked one day, munching on a crisp.
ZOOBELS checked his monitors. Coast is clear, he announced.
They were both itching for fresh air. Little did they know, adventure was waiting just around the corner. They bumped into a crowd gathered around a makeshift stage. On it stood a rapper, blinged out and full of himself.
"It's Thanos!" someone shouted. Thanos began to rap, his words echoing in the street. "I am inevitable!"
Suddenly a figure burst from the crowd. It was Gi-hung, a skinny lad with a wild look in his eye. He held a fork.
"Stop!" Gi-hung yelled. "I played these games before. You think you're tough?" He lunged, stabbing Thanos' puffy jacket with the fork.
ZOOBELS and Skibidi watched in stunned silence.
Maybe hiding out wasn't so bad after all, Skibidi whispered.
I hear property in Egypt is cheap, ZOOBELS said with a wink.
Their adventure was far from over. So ZOOBELS and Skibidi are just chilling in their swanky Egyptian digs, right? When out of nowhere, they decide, let's find Ninja. Because why not? Next thing they know, they're on a subway to Korea. Yeah, Korea. As they're figuring out directions, a bloke in a suit rocks up and asks if they want to play Didakji for cash. ZOOBELS, cool as a cucumber, just says nah, and they stroll away. Then they bump into Mr. Beast, as you do. They ask him if he knows where Ninja's hiding. Mr. Beast, being Mr. Beast, says, sure, if you sub to my channel. They subscribe, and Mr. Beast hands them Ninja's address on a scrap of paper before vanishing into thin air. Crazy, right?
What's the plan? Get on a plane with a ninja's address, of course. On the plane, they meet Vexbolts. Who's Vexbolts? Oh, just a guy with an army of followers. So naturally, they swipe his phone and get him banned. Talk about leaving no digital footprint. Once they land, they track down the ninja. They spill the beans about Speed, the lake, and the reboot card. You'd think the ninja would be confused, but nah, he's all in. Their master plan? It involves the low taper fade meme. Yep, you heard that right.
Alright, what's the plan? Says Ninja. Tomorrow the low taper fade meme will have a massive revival, so we will use the size of the low taper fade meme to generate infinite energy, says Zobel. With this energy, We will build a machine that will accelerate us beyond the speed of light. And we will go back in time to prevent me from ever pushing ISO speed into the still water lake, says Skibidi. This is a good idea. You must have a massive brain, says Ninja. Zoobles does the calculations while Skibidi builds the machine. All right, we will do this at 6:09 tomorrow, says Zoobles. Ninja, will you stay behind and operate the mission? Okay, says Ninja.
The air crackled with the energy of 100 conversations. Zoobles and Skibidi stumbled out of the time machine. They were in the middle of a Halloween bash. Costumes whirled around them, and the smell of cheap snacks filled the air. It was October 30th, 10 p.m. sharp. Their target, mysterious metabolism.
Right, we need to find this fella.
Zoobles muttered, adjusting his fedora. Skibidi, fidgeting with his bow tie, nodded. Their mission was clear: find Mysterios, acquire his invisibility aura, and stop a disaster before it happened. Their eyes scanned the crowded room, searching for any sign of the elusive Mysterios. The clock was ticking. The music pounded in their ears as they navigated through throngs of costumed partygoers. Witches cackled, vampires smirked, and zombies danced with reckless abandon. But none of them were Mysterios metabolism.
Any ideas?
Skibidi yelled, his voice almost drowned out by a nearby werewolf's howl. Zoobles, ever the strategist, pulled out a crumpled piece of paper from his pocket. On it, a riddle, their only clue to finding Mysterios.
What's that?
Skibidi leaned in, peering at the paper. The riddle, scrawled in elegant cursive, seemed to mock them.
It's a riddle, the key to finding Mysterios.
He cleared his throat and read aloud.
I am the unseen guest, the phantom at the feast. I walk among you, yet remain concealed. Who seeks me, seeks the power to vanish, to become as naught.
A riddle? Couldn't we just ask someone for directions?
But Zoobles was already deep in thought, his brow furrowed in concentration. The words of the riddle echoed in his mind. He knew Mysterios wouldn't be found by asking directions. He had to be sought out.
Wait, I think I know who to ask.
He grabbed Skibidi's arm and steered him through the crowd, heading for a quieter corner of the room. They reached a dimly lit corner, where a group of people dressed as ghosts huddled together. Their whispers were barely audible above the music. Zoobles approached them cautiously.
Excuse me, we're looking for someone who can, well, make us invisible.
The ghosts exchanged glances. One of them, draped in a white sheet with eye holes cut out, stepped forward.
You seek Mysterios metabolism.
Yes, do you know where we can find him?
The ghost raised a spectral hand, silencing him.
Mysterious metabolism is not found, he is attracted. He is drawn to acts of selflessness, to those who put the needs of others before their own.
Zoobles and Skibidi exchanged puzzled looks.
Acts of selflessness? What does that even mean?
The ghost simply pointed towards the dance floor.
Go make yourselves worthy.
He whispered, then vanished into thin air, leaving the two time travelers standing alone. Zoobles thought quickly. They needed an act of selflessness, and fast. His eyes scanned the dance floor, searching for an opportunity. It was then that he spotted her. A young woman dressed as a fairy struggled to hold on to her overflowing plate of snacks. She was surrounded by rowdy partygoers who bumped into her without a care. She looked distressed, on the verge of tears.
Skibidi, I think I have an idea.
They weaved through the dancing crowd. Zoobles reached the struggling fairy first. He gently took her plate, offering her a reassuring smile.
Allow me,
he said, his voice charming and polite. Skibidi, catching on, deftly navigated the crowd. He cleared a path for the relieved fairy. A small table in the corner became their sanctuary. As Zoobles laid out the snacks, he noticed a faint shimmer in the air. It was like heat rising off pavement, but this shimmer pulsed with an otherworldly energy. It swirled around them, growing stronger by the second. The music faded. The other partygoers seemed to move in slow motion. The shimmer enveloped them entirely. Zoobles looked at Skibidi, his eyes wide with amazement. They could barely see each other now. They were becoming invisible.
It's working,
Skibidi whispered, his voice barely audible. They had done it. They had attracted the attention of Mysterious Metabolism. Now they could proceed with their mission. With newfound determination, they stepped back into the heart of the party, unseen, unheard, and ready to rewrite history. The invisibility was exhilarating.
Zoobles and Skibidi moved through the crowd like phantoms.
They reached their destination, the moonlit balcony overlooking a pool.
There they saw him.
A younger, more reckless Skibidi stood arguing with another partygoer. This one was dressed as a giant QR code. ZOOBELS recognized him instantly. awsome. This was the moment.
Remember, ZOOBELS whispered, his voice a mere breath in the night air. We just need to prevent past you from pushing awsome into the pool. No need for heroics.
Skibidi nodded, his face pale in the moonlight. He looked like he might be sick.
The argument escalated. Past Skibidi, fueled by whatever concoction was in his cup, was getting riled up.
ZOOBELS tensed, ready to intervene. But just as past Skibidi lunged, a cold, oily sensation washed over them. The world shimmered once more. Their invisibility vanished.
ZOOBELS and Skibidi were thrown back into visibility, stumbling onto the balcony just as their past selves vanished into thin air.
The other partygoers gasped, startled by their sudden appearance.
What the? Skibidi stammered, bewildered. He looked around for the source of the oily sensation.
And that's when he saw him. A tall figure, shrouded in shadows, stood at the entrance to the balcony. He held a bottle of baby oil in his hand, a sinister grin spreading across his face.
Well, looks like we have some uninvited guests.
Who are you?
You can call me Diddy, and I hate to break it to you, but your little time-traveling days are over. This, my friends, is no ordinary baby oil. It allows me to see through the very fabric of time, to see the ripples you've created with your meddling. S2, media group, time-lapse of river flowing, ripples in a pond, person at a lakeside, at stock at distribute _ equally. Baby oil. What did you do with baby oil? What I want to set things right. You see, your little meddling has upset the balance, and I'm here to restore it. S1. Media group, person walking confidently towards camera in a park, person standing in a clearing, person in a forest, at stock, at a distribute _ equally. What do you want?
Diddy lunged. The baby oil bottle flew through the air, aimed straight at Skibidi.
ZOOBELS!
ZOOBELS shook his head, wiping the oil from his eyes. He felt a strange, tingling sensation, but he couldn't dwell on it now. Diddy was upon them. Diddy fought with a ferocity that belied his calm demeanor. He moved like a phantom, striking with the precision of a seasoned fighter. ZOOBELS and Skibidi, despite their lack of formal combat training, fought back with the desperation of cornered animals. Skibidi, agile and quick, dodged Diddy's blows while landing a few of his own. His bow tie, miraculously still intact, seemed to spin faster with every near miss. ZOOBELS, on the other hand, relied on his trusty Swiss Army knife. The sonic screwdriver attachment hummed with energy, deflecting Diddy's attacks. The fight raged on, a whirlwind of fists, feet, and strange gadgets. The other partygoers, too stunned to intervene, watched in horrified fascination. The tide turned when ZOOBELS, remembering the strange tingling sensation from the baby oil, decided to use it to his advantage. He focused his mind, channeling the energy of the time distortions he had witnessed. With a surge of power, he launched himself at Diddy. Time seemed to slow down. He moved with a speed he'd never known, dodging Diddy's attacks with ease.
It's over, Diddy. This ends now.
You think this is the end? This is just the beginning. You've interfered with forces you don't understand, ZOOBELS. There will be consequences.
I'm not afraid of you.
The air crackled with tension. Then with a sigh, Diddy slumped against the wall, defeated. The fight had gone out of him. With Diddy subdued, ZOOBELS and Skibidi made their escape. The partygoers, still reeling from the spectacle, parted like the Red Sea as they made their way back to the time machine. The journey back to their own time was a blur. As they tumbled out of the time machine, back in their own lab, the events of the party felt like a distant fever dream.
We did it. We actually did it.
ZOOBELS nodded, a tired smile spreading across his face. But a part of him couldn't shake the feeling that Diddy's parting words were more than just a threat. They were a promise.
Yeah, we did it, but something tells me this isn't over yet.
And as the sun rose, casting long shadows across the lab, ZOOBELS and Skibidi couldn't help but feel a sense of foreboding. Their adventures in time were far from over. The future, it seemed, was anything but certain. The possibility of a new adventure, a new threat lurked just around the corner, and they would be ready.